The most important thing is dragon control against C9. Like, if you look at the dragons that they've taken compared to any other team, they like get every single dragon in the games that they win. It's kind of their key strength.
Welcome back to the North American LCS. We're kicking our day off with Cloud9 versus Evil Geniuses, two teams that ended yesterday with a win.
Yeah, and in the case of Evil Geniuses, it was the biggest win, their biggest win in the NA LCS.
Yeah.
Their team looked to be working together very well. Rather than ganking bot lane a lot, which EG had done in the past, Snoopy focused on getting Pobelter and Inox ahead in that game, and it really paid off for them. Inox and Pobelter have shown that they are incredibly good at running away with leads, maybe because of all their experience in solo queue and limited experience on the competitive edge. I think that's going to be their strategy going forward.
Right. And while Evil Geniuses moved like a freight train, Cloud9's win yesterday was a slower, more methodical victory.
Right. They played with a lot of patience, and they looked for those opportunities to farther their advantages without giving their opponents any openings. It was kind of textbook Cloud9. You know, in that game, Cloud9 wasn't having success seeding Curse's base, so they said, fine. They were patient, they went back and got Dragon, and then they just played clean the whole time.
All right, with that, let's get it right into the game. Let's get the starting lineups on the screen. On the blue side, it's Cloud9. In the top lane is Balls, Meteos in the jungle, High in the mid lane, Sneaky on AD carry, and Lemonation right behind him on support.
And on the red side, it is Evil Geniuses. Inox in the top lane, Snoopy in the jungle, Pobelter in mid, Yellow Pete on AD, and Crepo on support.
We'll see if they can bring out anything new. I think EG and Curse are the teams we kind of give that moniker to. That they are the ones that do things new. They are the guys that bring out new things. And we can see that with 36 new picks from EG coming out into the split.
Yeah, 36 different champions picked. We talk about Cloud9 too, not necessarily being the team to have too much champion diversity. And it shows way less champions. 23 different champions picked for Cloud9 to the 36 of Evil Geniuses. We've seen the Volibear, we've seen the Soraka, the Urgot. Unique champions, Pobelter as well, the most diverse mid laner we have here in North America as far as his champion pool goes.
For a while, I thought he was kind of on like a personal endeavor to just play a different champion every game.
Yeah, let's try to get a competitive LCS win with every champion in the world.
A to Z, let's go. We'll see what they have for picks and bans. A lot of what we've been seeing for the past few weeks with that Pantheon, the Gragas, and not so much Renekton on the ban list, but he'll find one here because Ball's in the top lane.
Yeah, I like the Pantheon ban first and foremost, only because that was pretty much the best Snoopy has looked when he was on Pantheon. Even both of his games, the two games that Snoopy played Pantheon, his first one was against TSM, and he camped Bjergsen and actually gave Pobelter a fairly decent edge in that one. So Pantheon ban in particular, I'm a fan of.
And we talked a little bit about where EG's win came from, a very early aggression in the early part of the game on Crumbs, who was on a lease. That's going to be picked up by Cloud9 right here from Meteos.
Yeah, I think EG would be very smart to pick Leona here, only to try and mess up a little bit of Cloud9's champion rosters. The reason I say that is because Lemonation has played every game this split on either Thresh or Leona. Thresh is banned, Leona's now taken away.
Only two champions that he has really wandered out into the water on. It's going to get deep for him onto this one. The champion pool, we'll really see where it goes for Lemonation. The Lulu's picked up, but it's also picked up with, like you said, the Leona. So that's obviously going to Pobelter.
Lulu mid. Something that is incredibly hard to play against. Very few things match up against that. Kale can outscale Lulu and can deal mostly in a 1v1 lane. Other than that, though, we haven't really seen anything beat up Lulu. Her base damages are so high. Her utility and shielding scales into the late game. It is the new thing. It was banned in 3 games yesterday, picked by Link in the last game of our day, and then Link just destroyed on it.
Going pretty crazy in the early game he did for himself. But right now, into our Week 6, Day 2. Let's see what these guys have for each other in the morning. They're trying to wake up, get their best on. We have Shyvana being picked out here for Cloud9, and the Sivir coming in, who also saw quite a few bans yesterday. But the Stampede will be good for go.
Yeah, Sivir is weird champion who's seeing a lot of bans at only the highest level of play, because there's been so much about just team positioning that's been giving teams bigger and bigger advantages. And the move speed that Sivir grants is just absolutely ridiculous for that. Cloud9 knows how to utilize it better than anyone.
Well, they have Yasuo going onto the side of EG. He's been finding a little bit more playtime here in Week 6, and he also found wins on that playtime.
And something I really like about this team comp so far from EG is when you bring a Lulu mid, even though she does synergize well with tanks, she makes tanks. So Yasuo can become a very hard-to-kill champion in the top lane if Inox just plays it and gets farmed, and then have even more threat because he won't necessarily be able to be killed. It's a nice mix of defense from the mid lane and offense from the top lane.
Just giving Yasuo so many pop-ups to work with. He's got that Vi and now the Lulu, and we see the lock-ins of LeBlanc and Annie coming in. Very high AP damage there.
LeBlanc has obviously seen a lot of bans. The first loss LeBlanc saw in the North American LCS was yesterday when Voyboy played her. 11-1 now. But it's interesting because Lulu is a really, really good matchup against LeBlanc.
That's almost why she came out, right?
Exactly. That's one of the big reasons she rose to prominence. And now that they've picked into it, just shows a brazen amount of confidence by High and the rest of Cloud9, or they're hoping to pick off other targets like Yasuo in teamfights with that LeBlanc.
Well, High is 3-0 on LeBlanc in all 3 attempts. So, looks like he will be all right. We've seen Yellow Pete going back onto Ezreal once in a while, and it looks like it will be locked in once again.
All right, so team composition-wise, Cloud9 has a lot of movement speed, just based off the Sivir Shyvana synergy. I do wonder how effective High is going to be, though. He's going to have to play very well in and around Pobelter's Lulu. They're a good team fight composition, whereas EG, they have that nice high amount of damage because they haven't necessarily had to pick a true top lane tank. They're getting past that because they have Lulu, who scales so well in the utility. 0.6 ratio on her shield, 0.5 ratio on her wild growth for healing. So I honestly think that kind of healing and shields scale better than damage late game because armor and magic resist factors in. It's going to be a very interesting matchup. I think Pobelter versus High will probably swing this game.
All right, well, with this, it seems like Inox in the top lane gets back onto his carries. Gets back into something he likes. He does have a game on Yasuo that didn't go so hot, but we also saw that EG wasn't really in tune with all the communication and organization yet.
That initial Yasuo game was so early on into the season. They picked it with Kassadin. They picked a tankless team, but they didn't have anyone to boost up Yasuo's tankiness. They do this time.
All right, so the game's about to get underway. Let's see who you voted on to take the win. According to LOLesports.com, 77% of you think Cloud9 are going to come out on top.
Yeah, that's a pretty expected percentage. It's actually much lower than we would have seen out of Cloud9 early on in the year when they seemed like that untouchable, unstoppable force, and EG was reeling a little bit. But now, with that win yesterday, EG was looking better than they have all split. Wonder if they figured something else or something out, especially with that Lulu. It has had so much potency in all of our LCS games.
It's a lot of teams have been able to control the mid game a lot. Not maybe that's a contribution to Lulu, maybe not, probably not.
I think it is.
But, all right, so we'll see.
Lulu's early and mid game all over the place.
It's able to being able to go down to Dragon, have that control over the area, zone it out, and get the win. I was always impressed the fact that Lulu came to fruition without having an ultimate that did a ton of damage like every other mids does. But you know what? If you use it correctly, you don't have to be always dealing damage. The utility will get you all the way home.
Lulu will wear you down.
Yeah. We see what they have for each other as they make their way onto the Rift. It's game 53. Like we said, we'll be halfway through the split after this.
Yeah, 4 more games. Halfway to the halfway point of the entire LCS season.
There's some BM going on.
Well, this is Sneaky actually trying not to get zoned off because yesterday when EG invaded, they used Yellow Pete to zone the mid laner back so they could sneak into the side brush. That's why Sneaky's actually taking these hits, because he doesn't want to get zoned back. But he's got to dodge a little better than that. All right, swap him out. Next guy.
Elimination.
All right, he's 3 for 3.
Let's see what he's got. Hey, 4 for 4. We got bets on the next one. We'll take him up on the desk over here.
Yeah, he got out of there. He's not. Coming back for more. No, he's not.
This is better than Cleavers in the top lane.
Yeah, it's funny how they pinged that one there, because this one actually had a point. It was trying to zone off so that EG could have the fear of invading. But
why not? Do it again. Don't fix it if it's not broken. Try to get a little bit of a move in again if Cloud9 wasn't paying attention. EG may have gotten a bit of an upper hand, but they both back off. Everybody sits it even and get some wards down.
Meteos actually going to start
waltzing over
at his red buff. This is a fairly common tactic where the jungler will just start where his bottom lane is because they can give him a better pull. But in this case, he's just going to have to solo it because he's Elise.
We've actually heard the odd one say in interviews that that's a little bit easier for Elise.
Yeah, I do kind of wonder why he's starting red at this point. It would mean he wants to probably rotate for the top or a mid lane game fairly early on. It could also be a tactical decision, knowing that Snoopy's going to start blue, so he can meet him for potential counter ganks. Knowing how well Snoopy got Inox and Pobelter going in the last game, he just wants to be there to stop it.
Pobelter starting with that shield and throwing a little bit of damage onto High, but you can see the trade definitely in High's favor for now until Pobelter hits level 2.
Yeah, High's got that level 1 figured out. Plus he started with the Crystalline Flask, so he will be able to out-sustain Pobelter. Definitely planned this early lane out, knowing when his windows are against Lulu, because I definitely feel like once Pobelter gets a few more points in that shield, he would win these trades against LeBlanc. Not looking like the case right now, though.
There, he's got level 2 for himself there. Probably be able to glitter lance these out. We see that Meteos is over, taking his blue, and starting on the red seems like it may be able to work out because there is a hard push by Inox in that top lane.
Yeah, Yasuo very strong, levels 1 through 3. Stack up that damage on his E and just blow somebody up. But with the double Doran shield starting that top lane, there's not going to be too much direct dueling unless we get some jungler intervention.
Looks like Snoopy sees that his lanes are somewhat on the win. Goes ahead, wards top lane to make it safe for Inox. He is very far pushed up. We're just watching High here. He's got to be careful.
Yeah, unless he uses his distortion to harass, he's completely safe. LeBlancs are really only counter-gankable because she is so mobile if she wants to be.
You hear Alex in Europe from Gambit talk about champions like LeBlanc in Italy and lane, how it's so annoying to play against something that can play safe and you can't kill it. Gets under your skin.
Pobelter will have the option to do the same thing. He can just wave clear. Whenever High goes to roam as well, would be a really good opportunity for that. Meteo's hoping to catch Snoopy in a rotation here.
The Spidey sense.
Sees where he is. Can he get the last hit?
Dun, 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 dun. Takes a few extra steps. He's like, oh, he is here. And they're just going to go ahead and waltz this one
out of there.
Yeah.
There we go. Took a few too many auto attacks there. He should have went straight towards the lane. Oh, well.
So we got vision on Snoopy. That's called out to Cloud9. They can go a little aggressive if they want for the time being. That's already in the hands of Sneaky and Lemonation in the bottom lane. They seem to be doing well for themselves. 31-17 in CS, so it's going in their favor.
Yeah, a lot of power in that bottom lane right now. Lemonation doing a lot to zone out Crepo and Crew down bottom there. Leona is a very one-dimensional support in a sense, where even though she can have these amazingly powerful games, if she falls behind, there's not too much to do because all of her power is loaded into her initiation.
Yeah.
If EG can get going a little bit in the spot lane, it's going to be amazing. One of the most dangerous things in the world is Leona with ultimate when the enemy doesn't have flash. It's basically a kill whenever she wants it. But if they can't actually get a kill when she lands the ultimate, then it means nothing.
Just wave clearing right now. Lemonation to stop any engagements.
This will be a big fight.
With a stun. Inox going to be
Snoopy's
walking back.
a little bit far behind. He has to run all the way around.
Make sure to get a little bit more flow before he meets Meteos on this one. And now we get Snoopy to come in as well. Balls forced to flash out of this. Meteos is going to repel as well to the farthest minions. They're going to be safe for now, but a great counter.
Yeah, really well played by Inox there to delay enough for Snoopy to walk all the way around the corner and then land that vault breaker. And a poorly timed roam actually by Pobelter. He thought that fight was going to sprawl into the river, and then he would have been there to support. He's only level 4 Lulu, who's actually been getting pushed in a fair bit by High's LeBlanc.
Yeah, High's LeBlanc is halfway to 6 right now.
He's going to try to cut him off here too.
He's going to try to do a little extra damage, and I'll just get the vision on. Make sure he doesn't get himself in any dangerous positions as well, because he may want to be diving in a few if he hits that 6 first.
This is a very intriguing matchup. I want to see how this develops, because so far High's been very surprising, being able to out-farm Pobelter early. But with glitter lances like that, that could turn fairly quickly in the mid lane. Normally LeBlanc lanes, you're kind of thinking like any second there's going to be a kill.
Any second there is going to be a kill. Elimination looks like he could be the one to go down. First blood is ticking, but it's not going to be enough just yet for either Yellow Pea or Lemon.
Well, the barrier had to get burned by Pete, so he's basically back, and Sneaky is near full health with the barrier, playing very brazenly right now. Sometimes you just wish your champion didn't tell the other guy to duck. Yellow Pea gets out of the way of that boomerang. Sivir always giving it away. Yep. But yeah, 54-34. Going to be a big lead there for Sneaky. Pete and Crepo need to be able to go even in that lane, because I really feel like when EG's solo laners can get the help they deserve from Snoopy, they're in a very good position to win, as long as Crepo and Pete can hold their own. That is not being the case so far.
And it seems like with that, it's either an all the way or nothing. There's no middle ground to that. It's either the lanes get help and they do amazing, or they can't find their way. Yeah. Something EG has to work on a little bit coming into the middle part of the split.
It's one of those things that happens with inexperienced teams. There's a lot of action coming in the jungle here, a roam by Lemon Nation actually.
Looks like he is up level 4 to 5 on Snoopy, but he is not going to really sweat this one too much as he walks out.
Bit of damage. Not bad. Pobelter getting that lane shove on. Once he gets a blue buff, he's going to be turning into a very obnoxious Yordle in the mid lane there. Catching up on farm as well, you can see. Doesn't take much for Lulu to get the edge.
An early pink ward again from Evil Geniuses going down in that brush. We saw yesterday when Pobelter was playing Zed, the first pink ward he bought off that kill on Crumbs lasted all game.
True.
All game.
And that requires his team to have an immense amount of map pressure.
Yeah.
Something that EG's going to be trying for, but Cloud9 is one of the most difficult teams to pressure out. So much of their game plans have been around picking very strong lanes, shoving in, and then allowing roam to happen. It's what they're trying to do this game with the Sivir pick, with the LeBlanc early aggression, with the counter jungling from Meteos. So far, though, EG hasn't fell prey to any of those tricks.
You still have to worry about that card up the sleeve that is Yasuo. Inox can still be doing huge damage.
He's farming really well up there.
He's farming pretty well. Balls, we know him to do pretty good for himself, so we'll have to see how that goes as we get up to 10, 15, and 20 minutes when these fights around the dragon happen. In the bottom lane, we got some good trades going on as Meteos is back in the jungle, back on Snoopy's tail.
Yeah, here's where the issues come in, actually. That was a 2-level edge Meteos had on Snoopy, and you notice when he counter junglers, he's been leaving the little things and scaring Snoopy off the spot, so he'll still have to go back there and clear those camps for no real gold or experience. Right now, Meteos is reaping the benefits of his lanes pushing across the board, and we'll see if he can turn that into an edge. There's the pink ward!
Got it. Picking early lanes that can really crush down your opponent to the turret, giving Meteos time to be in the jungle and be in Snoopy's hair twice now in 9 minutes in the game, and it's really, like you said, affected Snoopy.
And it has more impacts on the rest of the game, too. You notice there how High was really just using his distortion to go in and harass. He wouldn't be able to do that if Snoopy was a threat in this game. But because Meteos has kept Snoopy down, therefore High can play more aggressively against Pobelter. It's a mismatched matchup now because one guy has potential jungle pressure and the other does not.
Not getting the lanes they want. We saw Pobelter on Zed. It's what he wanted on Lulu this game. But with that, he was able to get his 1v1 kills a lot easier than he would be here on a LeBlanc. It's very safe. So, see if they can wait it out, pull up that mid game where EG has been getting their communication together. They have a little bit of time. We haven't seen the dragon yet so far. Still in that farming, laning phase. It's 12,700 to 11.9, so it's not too much of a lead just yet.
Yeah, there is a pretty good lead here for Cloud9, just on 2 members, Meteos and then the Sneaky plus Lemon Nation lane. That Sivir versus Ezreal lane is just a disaster right now for EG. 37 CS difference, and there's the Tibbers.
They're going alt for alt, the flash Q, and then the solar flare for the consistent alt stacking, or rather CC stacking, I should say.
Yeah, a defensive solar flare, though, and then he had to flash away. There's still flashes on Cloud9. Pobelter also having to burn flash. So many of these summoner spells are getting used defensively for Evil Geniuses, which means that Cloud9 would have a big summoner spell edge when they decide to go for Dragon.
Yeah, like right now, and that happened between bottom and mid lane. Inox can't even teleport down to help. He's not running that summoner spell this game.
No Leona ult as well. But the stun would be charged by Lemon Nation, even if he does not have a Tibbers, meaning the threat is very real. What actual damage would EG be able to bring to this? Not much, but they still managed to scare them off.
I like the pressure. They were able to get Cloud9 to think twice. They called the audible and head back to the lanes. Meteos to his jungle for now.
Interesting call there by Cloud9. Normally, I would have expected them to just brute force that dragon down, but you know, with Sivir ult down, their mobility didn't have an edge, and they were probably just respecting the Lulu ult more so than anything. There's a gank by Meteos.
Maybe they just want to get the kill first. First blood comes in. High is trying to be a distraction up top. Snoopy cannot come to help.
Yeah, Crepo's flash was down. The return gank was very good. They had vision control of the dragon area because they just feinted a dragon kill. Now they're on a strong push.
It's just a matter of time and the method of the madness for Cloud9, and it looks like they're going hard once again. High gets himself the ignite. He should live off of this with the auto attack. Yellow P grabs himself blue buff.
2 kills.
It's going to be Lemon Nation going down now, and EG has turned this one around nicely.
2 kills in a 3v4. Partly because it was in between the turret and partly because Lulu is so damn hard to kill at this point in the game. The wild growth really kept him alive. It allowed Yellow P to really pick up a garbage kill, get someone really low, 1 auto attack of the turret, and that will help them swing that lane a little bit back. Didn't lose the dragon either, and evened out the kills for the game. Very pivotal moment there.
So we get a little look inside the window of what it looks like when these teams go.
Yeah, they locked down high hard right there. And then Yellow Pete was sure to focus him down. And just look how much investment they had to put in to Pobelt. Not only did they cut him off, they used everything afterwards as well.
Like I was saying, we saw that fight down bottom, but it's not been Balls and Inox have joined the party yet. EG trying to get Dragon here with that vision of Meteos.
This is really big, though. There is a Tibbers up, and I wonder how brazen EG wants to be right here. All right, they're going to end up forfeiting the Dragon. They do not want to fight the 4v5, just trying to go for a steal.
Very nicely played by Evil Geniuses to come back with that. And they didn't lose the top turret just yet, but they are going to be able to crush this down. The minion wave just behind Cloud9.
Yeah, interesting part of the game plan there. Cloud9 normally a very Dragon-focused team. That's what Pobelter said was going to be Evil Genius's focus coming into this game. It's just denying Cloud9 Dragons. It costs Inox his turret in the top lane, which could slow down his very key farming right now. This is the moment in the game where Inox needs to get his farm if he wants to have an impact later on Yasuo. But the Team Dragon keeps the gold at least manageable. Cloud9 still with the lead, though.
That bottom lane, Crepo has just completely rushed the Sightstone without getting that gold generation for himself just yet. They've been aggressed on quite hard, and they need to keep Meteos and the rest out.
Crepo often skips gold generation, especially when he's behind, because he is trying to get that little bit of power boost so he can fight toe-to-toe with people, even while they are behind. Can't say enough, though, about Sneaky and Lemon Nation destroying that lane. Sivir is not necessarily a good matchup against Ezreal. Ezreal can theoretically outpoke and out-harass. The zoning of Lemon Nation is probably what did it for them, being able to just threaten Crepo and never get hit with a timely engage.
Pink ward getting cleared out by Pobelter. His blue buff is on. I believe Yellow Pete is still rocking the one he got from High just a few minutes ago. So they're sitting pretty in this mid part of the game. As we said, where EG would start to make a bit of their comeback. Still a top lane to see coming into this game and having a factor. As High is positioning himself to get damage on Pobelter, but he's not having any of it. He knows what's happening. Yeah.
There's a bit of a roam coming now because there's been 2 turrets taken down by Cloud9, meaning the control is being lost for Evil Geniuses right now. I also kind of want to point out the squishy build that's coming out from everyone on EG is because they're trying to rely on the defensive capabilities of having Lulu mid by building more damage elsewhere. Snoopy would almost never go Spirit of the Elder Lizard to a Brutalizer on Vi, because as soon as he goes in, he would theoretically blow up. But if he has the Lulu ult or the Lulu move speed going in, then he might have a little bit more survivability. They're going to have to get into those fights pretty soon, though, because if they lose all 3 of their turrets, it's going to be very tough for them to come back here.
Well, Cloud9 is warding up so those fights do not happen. We just saw Meteos in another ward by Cloud9 get placed up near the Wraiths and that red buff that just spawned for Evil Geniuses. Snoopy has been punished at the red buff once now. We'll see if Meteos does it again.
Yeah, limited wave clear here by Evil Geniuses. The wave push of Sneaky Sivir is rather relentless right now. They don't really have an answer for Balls' Shyvana in the top lane either. Inox having to kind of let him have his day up there. EG in a tough spot. They're going to have to find a team fight if they can't defend that middle turret much longer.
It really helps that Cloud9 can rely on somebody like Balls in the top lane being pushed in by Inox the entire time to go even and then start winning the lane when EG has to call Inox to the fights because they need a 5th person now.
Yeah, good warding too there by Balls to see the roam from Snoopy. Meanwhile, just notice how there's a bit of a 1-3-1 split push going on here for Cloud9.
Yeah.
Shyvana, Sivir on the sides, and still a pretty solid crew in the middle. If they land any type of stun here, whether it's a cocoon from Elise or a stun from Lemonation, they have the damage potential to get a kill, even if it's just a 3-man squad.
Good damage still coming out from Pobelter. Still bringing out the oohs and the ahs, and there's a little shocking off from Crepo. They go on to Lemonation. They don't want that Timbers out, but he does get found, and Crepo's going to be taking big damage from high on the side. They get 2. Snoopy and Crepo fall very fast in that, and it looks like the turret will come right after.
Yeah, that was really poorly done by Evil Geniuses. They ulted the support instead of the damage dealer, and Snoopy got focused down really quickly. After that, EG had no damage left. Cloud9 just pushing mid.
Nice little shield there, getting some mana back for himself. True Shot Barrage being used to give the turret some breathing room, but it doesn't look like they'll be able to initiate using the clone out. And Inox. Ooh, that was close. That was really close.
That would have been one dead high if that landed. But even so, Cloud9 now has the 3 outer turrets down. Their relentless lane pushing is definitely paying off right now. Take a look at this fight one more time. We'll just watch Snoopy, how heavily he got focused down, but it's Crepo who ended up getting the Lulu ultimate. He didn't need it initially. He still died because there was no damage coming back, and they were opting into a 3v4. Not a clean fight for EG. They also went in after the Leona ult had been used. Very just haphazard play there. They were not coordinated, which is a surprise. Evil Geniuses is normally a very coordinated team.
See what they can do now with Inox coming down. He'll probably head back up to clear that wave, but they need to figure out what to do next. Cloud9 is completely in the driver's seat right now. You see Meteos and Lemonation even setting up just a pick for Snoopy. They know they would easily be able to take him out with 0 resistances in his build so far.
Yeah. This is becoming happy fun time for Cloud9 right now. They have all 3 outer turrets cleared.
Yeah.
They're trying to get ward control in the dragon area, and they know that if they get an edge in any of the fights, using the Sivir move speed, they can chase down and not have to worry about EG falling back into turrets because they are all dead already. If they can control this dragon, it will be more valuable than the first dragon of the game and will really just catapult their gold lead to a point where they can start tower diving.
It's like a pick comp that morphs into Stampede when it needs to. Very scary.
Very speedy, fast team.
Speedy, fast. If High doesn't finish him off, everybody else will be there too. We're going to get the dragon going down now. Cloud9 gets that one in their favor. Not going to be worried about the first one. So 1 dragon to EG, 1 to Cloud9, but it looks like Cloud9 will be spending a lot of time on EG's side of the map from here on out.
Yeah, considering how clean EG's victory was yesterday, this game is far from that. Cloud9 is a very high caliber team. They didn't let any of EG's tricks fool them early on. They've stuck with the lanes very well. You can see Inox desperately trying to farm. He needs a lot more time if he wants to get his Yasuo items up. And unless Pobelter timely uses ultimates on Snoopy when he goes in, there is no good initiation for Evil Geniuses that won't just get blown up as soon as they go in.
Well, they have just as good a disengage as they do engage with that on the hunt. And speaking about on the hunt, more so of Sneaky, with him on Sivir, it's just like he's put a little bit of aggro into the utility champions he used to play. Now he can be in the fight. He's still 0-0-4, providing the support for his team.
EG trying to go, though. They see that LeBlanc is not near the fight. Gotta land those, though.
Looks like bottom lane getting pushed.
Here comes LeBlanc from the
flank.
flank.
Get it back in. They're still waiting. Sneaky on the backside. Throws on the hunt. Down. Crepo's going to be the first one in. There's the good attack on the Lemon. High's trying to get in for the big damage this time, though. He looks to be going strong. And Inox on the backside. Flow shield comes up. He's still going to be going down to Meteos. Now they finally turn on to High. He has been doing quite a bit of roaming, but he still gets the kill to come out strong onto Snoopy. And Cloud9, in a chaotic fight, is able to pick up 3.
Yeah, I gotta say, I like the thought of EG going in, but Cloud9 is just executing better in these team fights. They are just outplaying them mechanically. A tricky fight for EG, but they end up losing more people and the turret afterwards.
Whoa! That's not what you want right there. Yellow Pete's going to get hit up a few times. The shield comes on from Pobelter, and it looks like they may be able to turn one around. Not enough damage. They leave each other limping.
Yeah, that was not the fight EG wanted. Crepo was caught out of position, and you can see he decided to turn it right away and get the jump on Lemonation, but watch. They burn almost everything on Lemonation, and then specifically, watch for the Lulu ultimate. He throws it really early onto Ezreal up top where he didn't necessarily need it. They could have used that in the brunt of the team fight, but they were just kind of out of sorts. It was because High scared him into it, and then Yellow Pete actually dodged the burst by himself. Generally, I think you should save the Lulu ultimate for the people who can't mechanically outplay like Ezreal, who can dodge a lot of the LeBlanc stuff. Tricky situation for Pobelter to be in. When his entire team builds squishy like that, he's forced into kind of protecting everyone. And at the moment, he just doesn't have faith in the rest of his team to save themselves.
It always gets scary as a support when you see 2 fights breaking out, and you're like, I have a decision to make. Let's see if they can keep it going. It's not looking too grim just yet, but with the way Cloud9 handles themselves after this, having this much of a lead, it's not looking good. 34.6 to 28,000 gold. 7 kills already for Cloud9, and they've been taking down turrets like nobody's business. The mid is all the way opened up, so all they have is these side turrets to be taking down, but they may just go for that inhibitor first.
Yeah. 4 turrets to 0, very difficult place to be in. EG loves to force fight after fight when they're down like this.
Going for the long haul on that one. Yellow Pete with a great true shot barrage, passing through the entire team. Meteos comes in, answers back with a retribution kill as Crepo is going to burn down from the Ignite, but they pick up 2 right on top of each other, and they will continue chat. Yellow Pete's forced to flash. They won't follow on Pobelter or the speed steroid, so it looks like they back off. It's not looking good.
Yeah, a 3-for-1 that time for Cloud9. EG does a lot of this, actually. When they sense they're down a little bit in a game, they will try and force team fights really quickly because they want to jumpstart their way back into the game. It rarely works for them. That was a situation where they were hoping Cloud9 didn't have 5 people in the area, but they did.
Sometimes you got to be a team that just takes that chance. We'll see if they can keep going in. The bottom lane, we said before, 201 to 158 is going to make it tough. Sneaky is a huge factor in these fights.
With Leona Ultimate did not help matters much, and it was specifically balls coming from the side that really ruined EG's day. Once he entered the fight, there was no turning it around. Again, like, not a bad thought of an initiation because you have to force things in order to come back into the games. You have to put yourself in low percentage positions in order to come back. That was just a little bit too low percentage. Too many unknowns before that fight.
You can see AG trying to get what they can here, scratching at the mid turret, but it takes all 5 of them. They can't even have Inox off split pushing right now. They need to make sure they don't also get engaged on that. On the hunt, such a scary factor. The Talisman of Ascension is not finished on the side of EG, so they can get caught out quite easily.
Yeah, and 5 of them being in the mid lane here, down 8,000 gold. They should not be there long. Yeah, they're back in the lane.
They got good wards on the bottom side, so it doesn't look like they can. Oh, it doesn't look like they'll be hit up while they're backing, I was going to say. Cloud9's also going to use this time, get themselves a little more structured for the next attack. They know EG does not have much more left in them. Just looking at the inventories in general, High is ready to blow anybody up. We already have Meteos building into pure damage with the Leandri's finish there onto his Golem, so these guys know they have the lead.
Yeah, a lot of credit to High for playing the lane so well against Lulu. Lulu generally beats almost every lane matchup, and High did good to stay aggressive early and never really let Pobelter get the upper hand. Likewise, the rest of the Cloud9 team kept a high enough frequency of fights that he wasn't trapped in lane against Lulu. He could often roam around, and Pobelter was distracted with other responsibilities. So now that they're at this point in the game, you can see Pobelter really doesn't have much ability power, and is not a huge factor yet on Lulu. This Dragon fight, if EG decided to contest, would be probably a disaster, but it could be an opportunity they want to take. Danger, danger.
That's what we said the EG motto is, take it as it comes, and it looks like they're going to have to take this fight. Snoopy goes down instantly with the build he's been forced to go through this game. Double kill coming in for Sneaky as he comes in from the backside on the hunts, wearing off already, and it looks like they've won the fight they needed.
Yeah, that was the danger. Cloud9 is way too fast. As soon as they saw the opportunity, Sivir popped on the hunt, and that's exactly what they went and did. Snoopy blew up immediately. No tank stats on Vi. He built that aggressive build, and then was completely shut out of farm afterwards. His jungle was invaded. They had nothing but team fights. He is gold starved through and through. Completely blows up. Maybe they're going to try a desperation steal here, but High is the defender right now.
Ooh. Oh, he goes back in. Yellowbeak goes back in. Baron going down. Pete trying to use the last bit of his mana to fend off High there. You saw he almost got killed, but Pobelter, the saving grace with Wild Growth, so that's also going to be down here. Cloud9 easily cleaning up this in the mid lane. They have not lost a turret yet this game, which goes to show their rotation, map control, everything has been top-notch so far.
Yeah, Cloud9 looks good right now.
And they're going to lose this. Go figure.
Yeah. Playing their conventional stuff. LeBlanc is a very popular pick. Sivir is banned at the highest level of play. Shyvana is Balls' most played champion now.
Yeah.
As well. You know, they're just picking what they're good at. This is what Cloud9 has always excelled at doing, not necessarily having to be outside the box. They play what they are good at, and they make it work. With execution. They're trying for something. He's going the other way, though.
They're looking for the elusive balls. Farming in the bottom lane now. He's just doing some working out. Don't bother a guy when he's working out.
007 right now as well. Good score.
Yeah, he is. Wow, fancy that. Let's see if he can do anything secret in the bottom lane. He's calling his team over here. Looks like they got the whisper comms going on, but they're all going to show up for the surprise party. Bottom turret is the next one to go down. I was wrong. It's not going to be mid. Yeah, they're going to take out this.
This is the indefensible turret as far as teams with Baron buff go.
Don't want to try it just yet.
Hold at the base turret. It is stronger. It is a bigger choke point, harder to dive through. But at this point, with the strength that Cloud9 has, they may well go in for something with wind wall down.
Watch the stuff bounce up.
If they decide to go in, though, they're going to basically have to do it without creeps. Lulu can push back this creep wave very well just by glitter lancing it down. Cloud9 has dove turrets before, though. They know how to do it.
Snoopy's still building up quite a bit of damage. They're really focused on him being that catapult for Inox to get in. Yeah, they're in. Yellow Pete, he again gets the wild gold, but it doesn't last too long. They're going to trade back onto one. No, not yet. Snoopy goes down there. Finally, Sneaky gets hit up too hard. Pobelter's on the backside. The clone comes out from High's passive. They're trading back and forth, but the ace is going to be all she wrote coming in for Cloud9.
Yeah, a really crazy-looking fight there. Cloud9 just went all in. You can see Inox. The potential of this EG team composition was there. Inox just about blew up Sneaky by himself. But they are just so far behind at this point.
It's ball's going even in the top lane. Let's actually see this fight first.
Watch the Yasuo. He has a pretty good combo here. He chains his own knockup. And the fact that him and Crepo get on Sneaky right away, they blow him up. But aside from that, because they were just sitting in that dragon fire the entire time, the rest of their team dropped down. Nice little move by High there. Good stun by Crepo to close him out. But it was just the overwhelming force of Cloud9. There's too many people in there with too many stats.
And the game has just been going this way the entire time since minute 1. Balls did not allow Inox to get really any kills or farm ahead of him in the top lane. So you don't have the Infinity Edge, Static Shiv, Yasuo taking everybody out right now. You're still waiting for that. Meteos was in Snoopy's hair the whole time. High was taking out Pobelter and causing him trouble. Usually you only have a few of those. They have every one of them mounting against EG right now, and that's why this just looks so clean.
13,000 gold down, only 30 minutes in. EG would need some kind of a miracle here. You can see Sneaky continuing to build up damage. You know they want to end it before Inox gets a lot of items, but there's not a heavy need to. Only because Sivir is so powerful right now. As long as he can stay clear of Inox better than he did last fight, just the ricochets alone, combined with Shyvana, the amount of AoE damage that brings to team fights. Also, just because Lemonation has had so much gold, he has a Leandries on Annie. And a funny thing is, Annie's one of the best things to get Leandries on because the Tibbers itself will do the Leandries procs for current health percentage just by being next to someone. Mean.
It's pretty hot there.
They don't need 2 of them, though. If I was Cloud9, now it's Meteos, I'd say, why building Leandries? I already had it. If you're burning the same person with 2 Leandries, it doesn't double. It just refreshes the existing tick, so it doesn't help that much.
They'd like to think so.
This is a very hard turret to defend. EG should not be here.
Well, they weren't there on the bottom side. I guess the top side's, whoa, Snoopy go, he's already dead. We didn't even get to see that happen. He just like went to a black hole.
If you go off the bottom of the screen, you die.
Well, yeah, that's how every game works. They're still going. The turret's not even there. Wrong way, EG. Faces the other way, but Cloud9's not going to give you anywhere to run for safety. Pobelter going to be going down quite soon. He was going down the last there. Yellow Pete's the one to get hit up. A nice boomerang over the shoulder of Sneaky. They got to go ahead and get another ace in the game. That's the second one for them.
Should have ducked that one. 22-6. You could see as soon as EG was out for that turret, they shouldn't have been there. Shyvana came from behind, and that's the surrender. Much needed.
There he is. Get the stretch on. What a workout for balls in the top lane. Shyvana, pretty good game for himself.
Some pretty good scores, actually. 2-0-15 for balls, 8-0-10 for Meteos. dynamic duo right there. I'd say the Meteos and Balls top lane jungle synergy is higher than any other combo like that in the North American LCS.
Yeah.
So often you think about the mid laner and the jungler. For a lot of times, Cloud9 is about the top laner and the jungler because those two always seem to wreck house.
Cloud9, again, another very slow, methodical game. There wasn't anything out of ordinary for them there. Meteos with his regular counter jungling once or twice. The rest of the team with consistent lane wins. How hard is it to win a game against Cloud9 when you can't get the lanes to be in your favor?
Yeah, something that kind of fell by the wayside discussion-wise was how good individually Cloud9 has always been. When they joined the LCS back in the spring split of 2013, summer split of 2013, they were almost their entire team top 10 of Challenger. They've obviously not kept up with that exact amount of solo queue because they've been more focused on the team play, but that's the individual level of play those guys bring into the game. They are good, and it allows Meteos to counter jungle because his lanes are so competent on their own.
And the dual lane has definitely gotten a lot better on the bottom lane. Sneaky and Lemonation used to kind of be the, we'd say they're not warding as much. They're the ones to get hit up. And then with Sneaky being utility, it's all right if he dies a few times because he just supports the team with an Ash Arrow or with On the Hunt and speed up. But they themselves, we saw it this game, they were going hard from minute one, and they've really been able to put up their own numbers this year.
It's really interesting. Sneaky seems to have this initiator's mind from an AD carry perspective, which is very rare. With AD carries, they're the ones that just kind of wait for things to happen and then stay at the outside of the battle. But the fact that he has had so much success on Ashe and now Sivir, his ultimate is really the thing that keys team fights, and he is very good at judging when it is time to go. That was another example. Anytime EG was like, oh, they shouldn't be there, immediately the Sivir all came in. And they showed EG why they shouldn't have been there.
And they took the mark and they hit it. All right, we're going to send it down to Kobu, who's standing by with an evil genius who is just coming off the rift.
All right, thanks, Rib. I am here with Snoopé. You guys are coming off a tough loss, and it seemed like the counter-jungling from Meteos was pretty effective. Do you think that's something that's best fought through changing champion picks or team-coordinated vision?
So vision is definitely one thing, but the biggest thing you want to watch out for when that's happening is the pressure they put on lanes. So you would have noticed that Hai got a little bit of pressure on Pull Belt or mid, and that allows Meteos to do what he wants because he has the freedom that he always has the backup. Like, he's never getting collapsed on because Hai has the pressure in mid. And that's the biggest thing when you're counter-jungling is making sure that you have that backup. And you saw at one point I went my red buff, but I had to back off because even though it was only Meteos at the time, I had to back off because I knew if I stayed there, like, I might have got the red buff, but I would have just died right after that to LeBlanc. So you lose a lot of control of your own jungle that way, and then they can establish vision. It's a coordinated effort by T9 just to seize control as a team.
All right, and then also this game you built pretty offensively on Vi. How does that change your playstyle when you go, the Elder Lizard route rather than the Golem route?
It's just, like, for example, they were building relatively squishy themselves. For example, like, LeBlanc was, like, if I actually catch LeBlanc, I can kill it quite fast if we can, like, combo or CC together. And the same with Sivir, the same with Annie, even Elise as well. You can brawl Elise in the jungle with Vi. If you go, like, an offensive build, go defensive build, you won't brawl as well. And that was the aim of the game, was, like, we just couldn't stack our CC appropriately, basically.
All right, well, enough about the loss. You guys also had one of your most convincing wins this weekend, yesterday. What is the general takeaway from this weekend moving forward and building on this?
Going forward, basically, we just want to make sure that we can get as many wins as possible. Every week, we can't go like 0-2, basically. A 1-1, it's still a good week because we're up against tough competition. Everyone else, Dignitas and C9, are above us in the league. So it was a good result in a sense, but we played really, really bad this game. I would have much preferred to have a solid game and then feel more comfortable about games going forward. That's the biggest thing.
All right, well, thank you for the interview, even after the loss, and we are going to send it back up to the guys at the desk.
Thank you very much, Kobe. We do want to remind everyone at home to weigh in on who you think will win today. Head over to lolesports.com, click on matches at the top right, go to week 6, and submit your vote.
Yeah, and while you're there, you can get the latest team statistics, box scores, in-depth interviews, and rewatch any games from this season you may have missed.
You can also secure your spot in the audience and attend any up-game game day taping. Click on link marked tickets for all the details on how you can see the Wonka-esque wonderland that is our studio.
Yeah, it's a pretty nice studio.
It is a nice studio.
A lot of pictures of champions all around.
Yeah, very Wonka-esque. We've got to take a quick break, but when we come back, Balls and Meteos will stop by the studio. Then TSM looks to end the weekend with a win as they face off against Team Curse. Now, as we slip into the fog of war, we ask the pros who they thought should be MVP. Take a listen and see if you can pick up on a pattern. Here's a hint. He's in our next game.
If I was going to nominate anyone for MVP, I think it would have to be Bjergsen.
Bjergsen.
Quadra kill coming in for Bjergsen!
I don't really want to name myself MVP because I think that's really cocky.
I was really surprised how much hype I actually got. I mean, Bjergsen's just crushing everyone mid.
He single-handedly wins his lane almost every game.
He has the damage, he has the victory in the 1v1. First blood, Bjergsen.
He's arguably like the backbone of TSM right now.
Half of their strategy, it feels like, is let Bjergsen win his lane by himself, and then we'll work off that.
And he's going to go for the kill under turret.
Oh my gosh, he has a W coming up, he actually grabs it.
The MVP of the first half of the season for me has got to be Bjergsen. He's just absolutely crushing everyone, and he's clearly a big playmaker. He's an amazing player.